Hello, and welcome to That Goes Awesome, the only podcast where everything goes awesome. I'm Jaden.
I'm Christian.
And I'm gay.
This is our guest, Chris, and we also have Zoe here, of course. And yeah, we're back. Sorry for the week off, but
Jaden!
shut up. But we're all back together now. We have a guest. If you missed it last week, we did a little ranking of, we did a little draft of video games that we like. And we posted that on our Instagram. If you haven't voted on whose team is better on Instagram, you should definitely go ahead and go do that. Because it's actually very close right now.
I think you're winning by one vote right now.
Yeah, last I checked, it was 50-50, but...
This morning, I think it was 57-43.
Yeah, either way, it's really close.
Yes.
And whoever wins gets to pick an embarrassing thing for the other person to wear during the next podcast. And also, like, a picture to be posted on social media. So definitely make sure you go vote. Check out the podcast first so you can hear why we chose what we chose. We give reasonings for all of them, but even if you haven't had the chance, make sure you go ahead and go vote for the poll closes. Our lists or options are on the, or like our teams, I guess, are on the Instagram. So yeah. Make sure you do all that. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on the same thing on TikTok. It is That Goes Awesome Pod. If you're listening on YouTube, make sure you go also subscribe, follow on Spotify.
Yes.
And do it vice versa if you're listening on Spotify. Make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube. But yeah, we're back, and we're hoping to have a fun little interview for you guys. Chris, what made you want to come on the podcast today?
I wanted to come on the podcast. Trigger warning. We are going to be talking about mature content. Drugs, alcohol, of that nature. But I wanted to come on the pod because I feel like that if anything that I have to say can help one person, I've done my job. I've done the job that I've needed to do.
So Chris is somebody who I know personally from work. I've known him for a few years now. And Christian actually just met him just a little bit ago.
30 minutes ago, maybe.
Yeah, but Chris is a great guy to be around. I love working with him. I love just chatting with him. And he has a really cool story that me and Christian and all of us really thought that could connect with a lot of people. And we thought bringing him on would be like a good idea for people. Because people can listen. People, I think, can learn a lot from what we're going to talk about today.
It's a very important topic, especially for people around our age.
Yeah, we see that issues with drug abuse, with alcohol abuse. Like Chris said, trigger warning, if anything like that disturbs you, you might press forward with caution. Because I think it might get a little deep. Of course, here we like to have fun. So we're going to try and joke about it, try and laugh. But it's all a serious topic, but we want it to still have the same identity as the podcast that we have before. So don't take this as we're just changing the whole idea or a whole identity of what the podcast is. We're still going to have fun, but this is like a serious topic, a lot more serious than stuff we've talked about in the past. So just be cautious when you're listening if you have issues with that. We don't want to scar anybody. We don't want to alarm anybody. But Chris is a great guy, and he's going to talk about it in a way that makes it real, but also makes it fun. And yeah, we're here for a good time. So.
Absolutely, because laughter is how I get through my sobriety.
Laughter is a good way to get through a lot of things. So, Chris, do you want to kind of just give us maybe a bit of a background of maybe your upbringing or just like how you got into...
Absolutely. Well, I was raised by my grandparents. They were devout Jehovah's Witnesses. They took me in because both of my parents were drug addicts, alcoholics, things of that nature. So my grandparents stepped in. They seen that but I was in bad shape. Um, so they took me in and raised me. They were very, like I said, they were very strict Jehovah's Witnesses. I don't know if you guys know anybody who is a Jehovah's Witness.
I don't.
They don't celebrate birthdays. They don't celebrate Christmas. They don't celebrate. The only thing that they celebrate is like the death and resurrection of Jesus. You know, which Easter.
Yeah, Easter. Yeah.
But yeah, I was always in school. I was always singled out. Anytime, you know, in like elementary school, somebody in your class has a birthday party, I would go and sit in the hall by myself. I would be sent to the library to do busy work. And that went for birthday parties, Christmas parties, all that. So it started out, you know, very, very sheltered, very, very strict and sheltered, which led to, you know, me being picked on. Plus, it doesn't hurt, or it doesn't help whenever I open my mouth and a purse falls out. So,
I'm sorry. What do you mean by that?
I open my mouth and I just sound gay. It's like, is he? No. He is. He's a big old queen.
He's a big old queen.
A big old queen.
Okay.
So, you know, that also did not help me at all.
Zoe.
What was that?
Are you okay, Zoe? If you heard that on the podcast, that was just Zoe. Don't worry about it. Everything, she's okay. I promise.
She got embarrassed. She said, "Dad."
This is getting too deep for her. I'm sorry. Continue.
So, I get into high school. I just wanted to fit in and be cool, and they were smoking weed, smoking the little weeds. I was like, yeah, sure, friends. And I did. And then I started working while I was still in school. And I learned what Adderall was. It wasn't super big back then. But I mean, I found it.
Well, before you get all into that, I guess I want to know. So, both your parents,
Yeah.
they partaked in a lot of alcohol, drug abuse.
Yes.
Correct. So, that means, as a child, like you were exposed to that like very early on.
So, my grandparents adopted me at 6 months old.
6 months. Okay. Okay.
So, like, my biological mother and my biological father was not married. My biological mother already had 2 children, older than me. Mm-hmm. Me and one of my sisters, the one that just recently passed, we are 13 months apart.
Yeah.
And then my oldest sister, we're 3 years apart. So we were all very close in age.
Pretty close.
But whenever we were taken from our mother, there was no way that we could stay together. There is no way that we could stay together. Due to unforeseen circumstances.
So was it a different father? Or are you full sister? Full brother, sister?
We don't know.
You don't know?
We don't know.
But your grandmother, is that your mom's mom?
No, surprisingly, it's my dad's mom.
Okay, so that's why your family, or you and your siblings, were all separated.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, my oldest sister, Sarah, she was adopted by our mother's mother.
Okay.
And then my sister Michelle, She was adopted by her dad's family.
Okay.
And then I was adopted by my dad's family, if that makes
No,
any
I
sense
follow.
to you.
Yeah.
I follow. I understand now.
Um, yeah, so, I mean, and we were exposed to a lot. Um, before I was even taken.
Was your grandparents or whoever took adopted you, did were they big on alcohol and drugs or
No.
okay, so
It, tobacco free home. Um, no drugs of any sort.
okay.
Um, like my pappy, he would have. Yeah, no, yeah, he would drink beer on like
Mhm.
and like watch the race or like work on the car.
Yeah.
But it wasn't anything like he had to have it.
Mm.
It wasn't nothing necessarily abnormal from a normal family.
No, 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 not at all. Um, grew up in a. I honestly could not have asked for better people to take me in. Because for one, they saved my life,
Yeah.
and no matter what I ever did, no matter their religion told them to shun me, to put me out of their home, um, their belief system altogether. Um, they didn't. No matter how many times I screwed up, they were there,
That's awesome.
That is.
and they were there. They didn't love me in spite of. They loved me. Period.
Yeah, that, I mean that's all you can ask for is a
That is
situation like that.
something that I will never forget.
So we'll fast forward back to kind of where you were a minute ago once you get into high school. But
Yeah.
do you know, or do you have a guess maybe if your mom was on any drugs or like still doing all that while she was pregnant with you?
So, do I know for a fact? No.
That'd be hard to know for a fact.
No. Um, I can tell you that as soon as I was born, I did have to. I had to have emergency surgery as soon as I was born. As soon as I was born. Um, I mean, if that tells you anything. You know, whenever me and my sisters were taken, my sister Michelle, the one that passed, um, she had already had both of her hips broken. Um, by our mother's parade of men.
Okay. So it seems like you pretty. I know you kind of alluded to it a minute ago, but you from your situation you had to be literally saved by your grandparents.
Literally, whenever they adopted me, they hired a private investigator against my mother. they She was feeding me sugar water. She wasn't even, mind you, I'm not even 6 months old.
Hmm.
Feeding me sugar water. My grandmother, the one that adopted me, would buy formula and take it to her home and give it to her for me and for my sister that was also on formula. And she would turn around and take it back to the store and trade it for her money just so that she could get drugs.
Man, I honestly I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
Just
My grandmother would buy clothes and like cut the tags off of them. She didn't care. She would go and sell them to people in the apartment complex or trade them to people in the apartment complex for drugs.
Yeah. Man. For drug money, yeah.
And I mean, you think that whenever you start to do all this stuff, like whenever you start doing drugs, you're like, man, this is so fun. I feel so good. This makes me feel amazing. And it's like literally, you close your eyes and you wake up, and all of a sudden, it's not fun anymore. You're having to do this thing that was once fun. You're having to do it just to get out of bed. You're having to do it just to be able to attend a family function. You do it to be able to feel like a functioning part of society. And then it's an awful vicious cycle that I would not wish on my worst enemy.
So you get exposed once you're in high school. So personally, I know you were around it when you were little.
Yes.
And tell us a little bit about, I guess, that first exposure you had of people trying to get you to partake.
So for me, to be honest, it was all about acceptance. Because like I said, I was very sheltered. God love my parents. God love my parents. I didn't know what certain things. I didn't know a lot of things that someone in high school should know. I just wanted to be accepted. I just wanted to be liked. So I was like, oh, okay. And I had friends. I mean, and looking back, were they really my friend? No. No, they weren't. But at that time, I had friends. I had places to go, things to do. And at the time, it felt great. I found like I had friends. And so I was in high school, graduated high school. I'm working. I was working while I was still in high school. And like I said, I had found Adderall. Well, graduated high school, working my summer, start college, nursing school. So excited. So excited. I'm working full-time as an assistant manager at McDonald's. Part-time at Chick-fil-A for the Jesus chicken that hate me.
Sorry. You're saying they hate you because you're gay.
Yeah!
Okay, we won't get into that.
Homophobic, and it's Pride Month.
Anyways.
Working for them part-time and going to nursing school all at one time. Please tell me where the hours are for that.
Yeah. And this is right out of high school?
Right out of high school. Right out of high school. And I was like, man, there's just not enough hours in the day. Well, that's when I discovered cocaine.
That's when you discovered what?
Cocaine.
Did you, like, how did you discover it? Like,
how did I discover it? Okay, so like me, you know, I'm working. I have these new buddies, and you know, we're all cool. You know, it would come closing time at work, winding down at the end of the night. Now it's time to clean up. We're tired. I still have homework to do. For probably 2 or 3 classes, and they're like, hey, I know how you can get your homework done. They're like, you like this stuff? Well, you're gonna love this stuff.
I'm so sorry I laughed, but they're telling you, I know how you can get your homework done. Here's some cocaine.
What, friend? So I know that you guys are in college, and to be honest, it's probably so common just in people that you go to class with.
I can guarantee
No,
it.
I can also guarantee it. But I mean, it's that simple to get. It's that simple to get.
Yeah. Once somebody has it, they just start spreading it around so they can make money, and then suddenly everyone has it.
Yeah, they're not your friend. You're the customer.
Yeah.
You are literally bringing them your whole paychecks and just giving it to them.
Yeah.
You're not their friend.
So were these people that were claiming to be your friend who just giving you cocaine?
Oh.
Sorry.
Yes. Yes.
Why was that funny?
Because then those people turned into me and my cousin and my brother. And we're doing things that we shouldn't. And we had all kinds of friends. And we were their friends. But they were not our friends. They were not our friends. We just wanted their money.
So is that why you go around calling everybody friend?
No! Lies! No!
You just want me to give you cocaine.
Oh, I would never!
Wait, so did you say that you started dealing it yourself at a certain time?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I started dealing it. That was a whole ordeal. I ended up dropping out of college because I was like, I can't take it. I gotta go to rehab.
Real.
My family literally had a cookout. Had me come over. And literally, like, I'm sitting there chilling. I'm on coke. I'm speeding. I'm drinking a cup of coffee. Chilling. I'm getting ready to go out that night. I go to the bathroom. I get ready. I come outside. They're like, Christopher, we need to chat.
Your family?
Yeah. And so I went to rehab. That was the first time I went to rehab.
And how old are you at this point?
How old? Okay, so I was 18.
So
No. I'm sorry. I was 19.
So you weren't in college very long.
No.
Yeah.
No. I was in I was in college for almost 2 years.
Okay.
But yeah. That was crazy. Yeah, I ended up quitting college. Went to rehab. That was the first time I went to rehab. And honestly, I was just going to rehab because I was pissed and my family was making me. I wasn't going to get sober.
Yeah.
I didn't care about getting sober at that time. At that time, I was 19, almost 20 years old, living my best life. Just making money with my friends, hanging out, doing whatever I wanted to.
Right. Yeah, I mean, at that point, you're not really foreseeing all the issues.
No. Not foreseeing any of it. But noticing that, hey, I'm not making any money because I'm literally being my customer. And it is something that I have. Like, I would have a mirror and I would have lines laid out on my mirror for the moment I opened my eyes in the morning before I go to bed at night. Already have them laid out ready to go. And then slowly but surely, I mean, and mind you, like this whole time, like I'm on Like, I'm doing prescription pain pills. Um, Anything really I could get my hands on at that time.
So you got introduced to this, and you say you just very quickly just fell off the deep end. Like it like kind of it seems like it just like engulfed you.
I went nuts. Like, where I was just so sheltered, I didn't care. I just did not care. Like, life had just like smacked me in the face. Life really had to smack me in the face to realize it. But like, you're exactly right. It took over everything.
And you go to rehab this first time, and
Yes.
it was more of your family wanting to like put you into rehab. It wasn't, you didn't accept that you wanted to change at that point.
100%. I didn't feel like I had a problem.
So how long were you in rehab that first time?
I was in rehab 7 days.
7 days, and it didn't help at all.
No.
So if you don't really feel like you have a problem, it makes it harder to come to terms with the fact that you do, and you're just not gonna get better because you're not willing to.
Well, not only that, around here, I don't know if it's just around here, but I feel like mental health and addiction and things like that are not taken seriously.
I would agree with that for sure.
Not taken seriously at all. I mean, for the past several years, there is grants that are given to people. I got one to go to rehab. They paid for my entire rehab except for like $300. And without that, I wouldn't have been able to go. But the state is literally giving grants to people who can go to rehab and get sober if they want to. But these places that are rehabilitation, so I know I'm jumping ahead, but whenever the last time I went into rehab, I was in what they call meth psychosis. That is whenever you are doing copious amounts of methamphetamine, that you are seeing things that are not there, hearing things that are not there. Like whenever you see tweakers that are like twacked, that's what
tweakers are twacked. I hate seeing tweakers that are twacked.
that's what's wrong with them.
Yeah,
is that they have just done such copious amounts of methamphetamines that their body, your body's literally not able to process all that at one time because it's not even supposed to be in your body.
Yeah.
And whenever they send you to rehab here, you're only in there long enough to detox. That's it. You're there. They put you on more medication because, I mean, obviously you're mentally unstable, but they're not like, okay, so whenever you get out of here, we need you to do this, this, and this. It's not taken that serious.
So if they like you say you were on there for like 7 days, if they basically say like, hey, you're ready to go, are you not able to like dispute it and say like, no, I need more time in here?
No.
Really?
So because whenever you go and like you turn yourself in and you are going through that okay, so there's several mini processes to getting sober. Your quickest way is, and this is what I have found out each and every time I've been to rehab, just go to the emergency room. Any emergency room. They are not going to call the police on you. They're not going to call the cops. They're not going to, take you down, or they're not going to contain you just because you are on drugs and wanting to get help. I literally walked into the emergency room and I said, excuse me, I'm on drugs and I can't handle it anymore. They said, okay, bear with us and we'll get somebody with you. And that was my doorstep into Woodridge. And like I said, they keep you depending on how you are. They keep you from anywhere from 3 days to 7. 7 is max. But once you get done from there, there is places that you can go, like Magnolia Ridge. It's in Johnson City. It's a great place. They help people get sober. They help you. Getting sober is, I mean, you're learning to do things that you never thought. You're learning how to do everyday tasks. You know what I'm saying? Like, once you get so far into the addiction part, you're in there like swimwear, and it's hard to get out.
So you finish rehab the first time. It doesn't really help very much.
No, I didn't take it serious.
At this point, are you consuming a lot of alcohol, or is it still just drugs?
At this time, I mean, I would say I was drinking as much as any 19 or 20-year-old at that time. But was it too much? Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So did the alcohol quickly become a problem too?
I could put alcohol down. I could put alcohol down and not touch her, and it not be a problem.
Oh, I think it completely wrong. I thought you were saying like I could put it down, like you could empty the
mean,
bottle. You meant that you could, like, you meant that you could like stop. Like,
trust me, I could put it down, but
I was on your side. I thought he was saying he could just.
I could put it down.
Listen,
you can do that too.
That as well, yes.
Yeah, but he could also set it to the side, and
but I could also put it to the side and not affect me. I'd not. You know, I wouldn't have the shakes. I wouldn't lit.
You would never twack.
No.
Tweaker wasn't twacking.
Tweaker was not twacking. But yeah, I could put it down. Like it was not. Oh man, I need to drink. I guess because I had seen the repercussions of that.
Yeah.
You know, because my biological father, which he's still in my life, love him, good man. To this day, I mean, he's changed his life a lot too.
Yeah. That's good.
He had to. I mean, whenever you're an addict, no matter what kind of addict, you either get better or you die. And I'm sorry to put it that bluntly, but you either get better or you die.
It's a good quote.
There's no in between when it comes to drugs.
Yeah.
Or alcohol. I mean,
I'll just say, I've heard a lot personally of just stories like that because of what my father does. My father is the coroner. So he's had a lot of cases, I know, where he's had to pick up people who have not came out of this insane issue trap that you fall into as on the same side you have. So
yes.
I've heard countless stories of people who have came out on the other side, the other way.
Yeah. And it's when it starts happening to the people that you know, you're like, oh my God, that could never be me. Could never be me. It could be you in literally the snap of a finger. You know, my parents always used to try and tell me, you know, they would talk about bad association, and I'm like, yeah, whatever. No, 100%. If you hang around crappy people, it's not going to end well. Either way, it's just not going to end well. You have to surround yourself with people who want good for you, who want good things for themselves.
So, how many times did you go to rehab?
4.
4 altogether.
4 altogether.
Okay. So do you want to start talking about that process of, well, I guess I'm more curious to know, when did you decide that you wanted to change your life? When you wanted to turn your life around?
Honestly, it was a little over 4 years ago now. I honestly just got sick and tired of being sick and tired. If that makes any kind of sense.
Yeah.
I just got so sick of, because at that time I was a meth addict. And meth is the worst thing that I have ever encountered in my life. I was making it, distributing it, and it takes you over. But I was just sick and tired of being sick and tired, because once you're in that lifestyle, and I say lifestyle because when you're all wrapped up in that, that's what it is. That's the only kind of people you associate yourself with. That is the only kind of people that you surround yourself with. And it becomes a lifestyle, and there's rules, and I just got sick of it. And I went to the hospital and told them everything. No, I'm sorry. I had got a hold of some stuff, and it was not good stuff. Did I know that? Yes, but I kept doing it, and I intentionally overdosed. Intentionally. And this is while we were still working together. I was working at our place of business while this was happening. I intentionally overdosed. My parents took me to the hospital. By the time I got to the hospital, I was not forming words. They literally kept me for 3 hours and sent me home.
That's insane.
On an intentional overdose.
Yeah, that's crazy.
They kept me for 3 hours and sent me home. And I remember calling my mom from the desk to, come and get me. She said, "What?" She said, "You're coming home?" I said, "Yeah, coming home, Ma. Come get me." So she came and got me. And I was like, wow, not even the people who are getting paid to care about you are caring about you. Like, what am I supposed to think and feel? I literally intentionally overdosed. Had more of the same drugs that I overdosed on at my house. And they're like, "Oh, bye friend, bye gay friend. You just get to go on home to those drugs that you just did. And come back and see us."
That is actually the most insane thing
I
I've
cannot
ever.
believe that.
How that was even able to happen at all just blows my mind.
Yes.
That's like unbelievable.
They gave me several mini shots. Because I don't know if you know this or not, but if you are ever anywhere and somebody is ODing on methamphetamine, you cannot give them Narcan because it will intensify their high times 100 and overdose them immediately.
Man.
That's why when the paramedics say, "What have you taken?" they're asking for reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're there to save your life.
That's a very important thing to think about, because I think a lot of people who are in situations like that, and really just with just anything in general that's like is illegal, they're scared to go to the hospital out of fear of getting in trouble. And like sometimes they are there, as you said, to save your life. They're not there to make sure you go to jail. Like,
no, they're supposed to be there to save your life. And I mean, obviously, look at the situation. I'm overdosing. I'm clearly needing to go to the hospital. Like, I don't think I could get myself in any more trouble than what I was already in.
Yeah.
And I didn't get in trouble. I had, but yeah, you cannot give Narcan to someone who is overdosing on methamphetamine. You can't.
So would you say that you intentionally overdosing, was that almost like just a last ditch effort, like a cry to help, basically? Did you think you did that so you could go to the hospital and get help?
Honestly, no, because everyone around me knew that, like, I it was obvious
Then,
that I was on drugs.
If you don't mind me asking, then why the intention?
Oh, I didn't want to live like that anymore. 100%. At that time, I felt like if I had to live one more minute as a meth addict, I would rather not live at all. And that's literally, like, when I say I was sick and tired of being sick and tired, that is exactly what I meant.
So what came from that at the end of that situation?
So they sent me back home. 6 months later, the same thing happened. Because after that, I literally went into a 6-month spiral. Like, as if it wasn't like, my addiction was already bad enough. Like, them sending me home was the worst thing that could have happened to my mental state.
I could only imagine.
It literally showed me that, like, if these people are not caring, why should I care? And it made me feel some type of way. And so I went home. I just kept living how I had been living. And like I said, whenever my parents, they were very strict, like I said. The only reason that they let me live with them through this whole ordeal, it was because I wasn't a thief. I wasn't a liar. I was very honest with what I was doing with my drug activity.
Just because you fell into this trap, that doesn't mean you're a bad person. I mean, I'm sure even at this point in the story, if you could go all the way back, I mean, you never did it with evil intentions, or you didn't.
Not one. No. There was never any evil intention in anything that I was doing because I thought I'm doing this to myself.
Yeah. And it just got to a point where you just couldn't get yourself out.
It made me selfish. It made me care about me and nobody else. But at the same time, like, I wasn't stealing. I was still kind. I wasn't robbing people for my drugs. I was going to work so that I could buy them. You know, because, you know, that's how, to me, that's how that works.
Mm-hmm.
You work to earn money, and you pay for the things that you like with that money. You know, it never occurred to me that I'm going to go steal this 73-inch flat screen TV and go pawn it for $10 so I can get a fix. No, 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 friend.
So tell us about how this leads to the beginning of your journey that actually works.
So, I had went to, they from the hospital. I was in the hospital the last time that I tried to overdose. I was in the hospital a couple of days before they could get me a bed in Woodridge. They send me to Woodridge, and I am literally in this mindset that if I go, my mom would always tell me this: if you go into something with a positive attitude, 9 times out of 10 you're going to get a positive outcome. I mean, at this point, I was literally the lowest point I had ever been or ever thought I could get in my entire life. Lowest. So, I mean, I was willing to try anything at this point. But I knew that I had to work it. If it was going to be worth it, it just wasn't going to happen overnight. No matter how much I wanted it to, no matter how much I hurt, you know, anything. I knew it wasn't going to happen overnight. So, I took everything that they were saying seriously. And you have to go, to like group sessions, and then you have like they have like NA and AA meetings while you're there. Um, and I honestly, I took it serious for the first time in my life. And, you know, then they make, you know, follow up appointments uh, with, you know, around here it's Frontier Health. Um, and I started going to therapy. I would go to my sessions religiously. Um, I would take my medicine religiously. And when I say my medicine, um, I suffer from mental illness just like a lot of people around us. Um, so I mean, I know that in order for my brain to be okay, I have to take medicine every day. But I just started taking all of that. I had to be very selfish with myself. Um, when I first got sober, um, I had to focus on me. For the longest time, I didn't know how to do that. I was always focusing on, you know, because I was brought up very sheltered, so I was always wanting to please other people, make other people happy. It was never about what made Christopher happy. It was, how can Christopher make other people happy? And, you know, through counseling and all that, you know, my counselor asked me one day, she said, "What do you like to do for fun?" I didn't know what to tell her. I had not the first idea or inkling of the first thing to tell her. Because I had been in such a cycle of, what do I do for fun? Well, I used to do drugs for fun, but not anymore. Yeah. So, but like, so I had to learn coping mechanisms. One of my biggest one was art. Love it. Love to paint. Love to paint.
Big painter guy.
Yeah, love it. Bob Ross. Perfection.
You got a thing for Bob Ross?
100%. Something about that fro that just does it for me every time.
Yeah.
He's a fine looking man.
He is. He is. Our boss kind of looks like him right now.
Oh my God, he does.
I've heard.
Sorry, Adam, if you're listening.
Sorry, Mr. Adam. We love you, big guy.
So, you tried rehab before when you were basically forced to by your family, and it didn't really do anything. What it took was, it took you wanting it yourself. And once you decided in your mind that you wanted to be sober and you wanted to change, you went to rehab, you started going to all this counseling, and that's what really did it for you, you think?
No, my mom, if I could count how many times that my mom would just cry because she didn't know where I was at. She didn't know what I was doing. She didn't know if I was on the side of the road dead. I put her and my dad through hell with my addiction. And now that they're gone, I regret it so much. But I know there's nothing I can do to change that. The only thing that I can do now is just make things better. I can go forward. Because if I go back, I will not survive this time.
Did they both pass before you were sober?
No. I got sober November 12th, 2021. Mom, I lost her this past August.
Yeah, I remember.
And then I lost my daddy 6 months later. And then I lost my oldest sister 21 days after I lost my daddy. And you know, I really thought that I would have issues whenever they passed. With wanting to relapse. I didn't. Now, like, being sober this long, which, I mean, I know that, 4 years almost 4 years does not seem like a long time. But, for an addict, when you count it literally every day, sometimes there is still almost at 4 years sober. Like, I'll be at work, I'll be at work for an example. And I just have to, like, go and, like, stand in the break room for a minute. And, like, gather myself because do I still get cravings? Absolutely. Absolutely. And I don't know why. I guess it's just something that is embedded in your brain that will always be there. Kind of like alcoholics, whenever, they just always crave that. And it's crazy. I would never go back to it. My life has literally changed so much. I cannot. My life has changed so drastically since getting sober. I mean, I'm so glad that my parents got to see me be sober.
That's what I was going to ask. I know you said before one of your biggest regrets was not being fully sober and you wasting all that time while your parents were around. But what does it mean to you that they're gone now? And I remember all that happening. And I'll say, like, I'm so sorry. All that back to back is just insane. I can't imagine living through that. But what does it mean to you that your parents and your family got to see you sober up and got to see you overcome that before they passed away?
My mom being proud of me and telling me that, like, because I finally gave her something it wasn't the fact that she didn't ever love me. Please don't get me wrong. But it was, she would be on the phone with like my aunt or something, and she'd be like, that little Christopher, she's just doing such a great job with her rehab. And I'm like, wow, great, thanks, Mom. But then I finally gave her something to be proud of. You know what I'm saying? Yep. Like, she would even chat with like her church girlfriends and be like, that little Christopher, he's going to his little counseling, and he hasn't done drugs in this many days. And every day she would ask me, every day, and she was so 100% my biggest cheerleader.
That's awesome, and you need somebody like that.
And growing up, I always thought, my parents were so strict. They only wanted what any parent wants for their kid.
Yeah.
They wanted the best for me.
They just wanted the best for you, yeah.
That's it. They wanted but to know that I finally made my mom proud was everything to me. Now, my dad, God love him, he had dementia the last 8 years of his life. And I lived with them and helped take care of him. But even before he went like completely out of there, he told me, he said, I'm so proud of you.
Hearing that from your dad, especially someone who's been,
he was the matriarch of our family. He was that man. But to know that I finally made both of them proud.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it was trying to overcome addiction.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't graduate college. I didn't get this amazing high-paying job. All I did was not do drugs.
I will say, though, as someone who has neither gotten over a drug addiction, because I don't have one,
right,
and graduated from college, I feel like personally, just from like an outside viewpoint, I feel like those things are extremely comparable in how much of an accomplishment that is, though, because like as you said, like once you like really get deep in there, it's like you're no longer living for yourself. It's like drugs have taken over your life, so it's like you've like spinning it back around where it's the other way around and you get to take control of your own life again. That's a huge accomplishment.
Yeah, I think it's a major accomplishment. I get what you're saying, trying to get like you didn't do this or didn't do that, like all you did was overcome drugs, but overcoming drugs is like a heck of a thing.
That's not something you should undermine. That's incredible.
Thank you.
I'll say, like, I'm so proud of you. Knowing you.
Thank you.
Knowing you for as long as I have known you, and I didn't really know you when that was such a big issue in your life.
Yes.
But knowing who you are now, I'm so proud of who you are, and I'm so proud of how you haven't let any of that affect who you are now. I mean, you don't hide from it, but you make yourself so much of a better person because you keep all that real. But
thank you.
You stay real to who you are, and you've just overcame so much. Like I said, I'm just so proud of you.
And thank you. And for me to talk about it is a coping mechanism too, because I feel like, hey, I'm vocalizing this, so I'm letting you know, like, I'm having an issue. Like, dude, best friend, when I first started, they put me and best friend in the same department. She seen me come in on my worst of times. I would come in sometimes so high that I would have to sit in her vehicle because I was having such bad panic attacks and I couldn't come down off of my high. She seen all of that. And and stuck by my side whenever I went to rehab. Like, she pretty much threatened that. Like, she even popped off on my cousin one day. Fully 100% popped off on him. And I said, that's my best friend.
You definitely need someone like that in your life, because I'm sure it'd be so much harder to go through all that without somebody supporting you. But I guess to wrap everything up, just tell us, what does it mean to you now, just reflecting on all that now that you've been sober for almost 4 years? And then just, do you have any advice for people who may be going through a similar time in their lives?
What was the first part of that question?
What does it mean to you to be where you're at now?
Oh, it means everything. And when I say means everything, like, that's such a blanket statement. I have formed so many friendships and relationships. I'm looked at work in a way that I was not looked at before. I'm looked at in a public setting the way I was not looked at before. I've finally become a functioning part of society. And everything that I have worked for, and it's all been worth it. It's all been worth it. You know, when I first got sober, I got rid of Facebook, Snapchat, everything. Because it eliminated anybody getting a hold of me that I didn't need to, and vice versa. But honestly, to anybody that is out there that needs help, somebody around you cares. Somebody around you cares. And even though you might not think that you have a problem, I'm sure others notice around you that you have a problem. But just be honest with somebody. Be honest with somebody. If you don't feel like being honest, go to an AA meeting or an NA meeting. At NA meetings, they talk about both. About drugs and alcohol. I am not ashamed of the person who I was, because that's not who I am now. That is not who I am now. I do not identify as that same person that I was almost 4 years ago. I don't know him. I hope I never meet him again in my whole entire life. But getting sober was the most, hands down, best thing to ever happen to me.
This is my final question. It's just, I think it's something that anytime this topic comes up, it's a very common thing to ask, but I think it's like still important. If you had like anything to say to someone who was like in your shoes, like back in high school, like somebody who's had this kind of stuff offered to them, what would you tell them?
Don't do it. Don't do it. There is, you might want to be accepted, and you might want to feel like a part of the team. Go join basketball. Go outside. I mean, my situation was a little different. You know, I wasn't allowed to play sports. You know, it was a whole religion type thing. I wasn't allowed to play sports. But get out there, talk to say hi to somebody. You know me. I'm not afraid to speak to anyone.
No.
All of our customers, I know them on a first name basis. Talk to anybody. And don't assume everybody's your friend. Don't assume that just because someone is nice to you and just don't assume everybody's your friend. Because anybody that would offer you anything like that, or even put you in a situation where those kinds of things are going to be readily available, those are not your friends. You know who your friends are? Your parents. The ones that you might not want to call them and be like, hey, I need you to come and pick me up from such and such's house. There is drugs here. There is stuff here that I don't need to be around. Your parents are the ones that they would be more proud of you for calling them and telling them that there is drugs here and I do not feel safe, than to not, and them not ever get to see you again.
Yeah. I think that's a good way to end it on. I'll just say, Chris, I said it earlier, I'll say it again. I am so proud of you. And
thank you.
Just thank you so much for coming on here and sharing the story, because I'm sure there are people out there who would just love to listen. I'm sure it's going to I'm sure it's going to connect to somebody who needs to hear it.
Yeah.
I'm sure that you coming on here is going to mean something for a lot of people. So thank you. I want to give you a hug.
Oh, thank you.
I say I love you.
Thank you. I love you too. And I mean, I just recently got a Facebook again, after almost 4 years. So if you need a friend, holler at me. I'll be your friend. I'll be a real friend.
Yeah. So guys, thank you for listening to this podcast. We will. I guess we can. You have Instagram.
No.
You don't have Instagram? Only Facebook?
No,
okay.
I just got Facebook.
Oh, okay.
I'm learning baby steps.
Baby steps. Well, if you need to get into contact with Chris, he wants to be your friend, you can reach out to us on the podcast anywhere on any of our social media. We can hook you up easily. Thank you so much again, Chris, for coming. Thank you guys for listening. If y'all ever want to have Chris back and maybe on a topic that isn't so depressing,
let us know.
Yeah, please. I love to laugh and have fun.
Yeah, Chris goes awesome. So if you're interested in thinking that Chris would be a good guest for maybe a more fun topic, let us know. Let us know what you thought about the podcast. Make sure you review or give good reviews. I think you can give 5 stars on Spotify.
That is true. We
Yeah.
have 5 stars so far on Spotify.
Yeah. So review on Spotify and do the 5-star thing. Also like on YouTube. Even if you didn't watch, go vice versa and do it anyways, because it helps us out a lot. Make sure you're following on TikTok and Instagram at That Goes Awesome Pod. And make sure you like all our posts there. Vote on the poll.
Vote on the poll.
I'm going to have to go home and make an Instagram just so I can vote on the poll.
And once he does that, we'll link his Instagram on our podcast Instagram. So,
yes.
Unless y'all have anything else, I think I'm done. Yeah. Chris, thank you.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Christian, thank you as always. It's been a pleasure. And I'm Jaden.
I'm Christian.
And I'm Chris.
Thanks, Chris. That podcast went awesome. We're out.